All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to anyone that is currently tuning in. Know we're a little bit early, but over here in the Move Swiftly world, we're all about being incredibly punctual. To be early is actually to be on time. To be on time is to actually be late. And being late is completely inexcusable. We don't tolerate any of that nonsense over here in the Move Swiftly world. So,
Being incredibly punctual. To be early is completely.
All right. We're good over here on Facebook. Let me go check LinkedIn real quick. Make sure we're solid there. Kind of paranoid nowadays with the sound because there was a time where I recorded a whole episode, right? Recorded a whole episode. And I realized the sound wasn't working. And I didn't realize the sound wasn't working until the end. So we're good over here on LinkedIn. What's up, LinkedIn? What's up, LinkedIn? What's up? Shout yourself out.
Because there was a time where I recorded a whole episode, right? So
What up, LinkedIn? What up? Let me go check YouTube to make sure we're straight there. Oh yeah, we got a lot to talk about. You guys see the title. We have a whole lot to get to today. I am truly, man, I just have been it's been a different level of disappointment in regards to how how people have been reacting to this election and the realities and the truth and all the things that have been coming out since the election. Recording this, by the way, November 15th, 2024. Officially 10 days from the election results. And as a teacher now, I got to tell you, as a teacher, I'm truly have a lot to say, have a lot of opinions, and I'm disappointed with a lot of my peers, a lot of the adults, a lot of the colleagues, a lot of the people that I consider, or at least considered before this election. I don't want to use the term friends, but definitely people that I thought somewhat highly of, thought I could learn something from, and to see the way that their reaction after the election, I'm obligated to come on and speak to you directly about. So for those of you who don't know me, as one Crookshank here, my name as one Crookshank, one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time published author and educator. Continuously gives you a perspective on teamwork every single day. As a former football player, but I've established a business, established a system, established a process in which I've used the lessons that you learn on the football field, the teamwork lessons that you use on the football field, and align it with business so they don't they have more of a cohesive staff, and so that they have a staff in which is moving in a way in which everyone knows their goals, knows their measurables, and you have people that are very, very motivated. So before I get into today's topic, which is, again, I'm going to be telling you how to properly guide students through these election results, through these trying times, through these divisive times that really have not much to do with the actual candidates themselves, but more so to do with the people, the actual people that are on TV, and they're spewing this divisive language and this divisive tone in which it seems to be okay, seems to be responsive, seems to be something, is just a thing to do nowadays. So before I get into all of that, because like I said, I got a lot to discuss. If you are in the West Palm Beach area, if you live in West Palm Beach, Florida, anywhere near West Palm Beach, Florida, we're about 8 days away from the first session. All right. Free boxing lessons. I am a life group leader. I'm a leader at my church named Life Church. I'm a group leader, and we'll be starting the free boxing lessons November 23rd. If you have already registered, I will be sending it over a waiver to you this weekend. If you have not registered yet, be sure you do so. We're going to be doing it every 2 weeks. I have the date set, the location, and all that stuff. I'll send you all that information. Just hit that QR code that you see, or simply message me, and let's get this thing right. Let's really get ourselves where we need to get to going into this new year. All right. Second thing, business owners. If you have not yet, go to If you've not yet gotten your free guide, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. What I've done is I've come up with a really easy to understand list of 10 things that you could be doing right now to use 10 ways in which you could be using innovative teamwork to reduce the turnover in your business. All right. This needs to happen. You need to be getting this right now. If you have not gotten yours yet, simply go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com and you could use these 10 ways and then start implementing it right now. And you'll start to see a staff that's moving with a little more efficiency and a little more motivated and things of that nature. All right. So as far as today, all right, and we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be discussing how to properly guide students through the election results. All right. And let me just give you some kind of a briefing, and I'll dive more into what I'm saying later on in the episode when I get through some of the clips and I get through some of the topics. But for me personally, I teach at a school that is a brand new charter school. All right. And we recently became a school. And this is why this school that I teach at, I feel very connected to the vision of the school. And for those of you who have been listening to me for a while, you hear me talk a lot about this idea of being a wintrepreneur, which is basically my entrepreneurial vision aligning with the actual job that I currently have. And when it comes to this brand that I've created, this logo, this thing that you see, this plus LY logo, it's a great synergy between what I created with my own intellectual property and what the Center for Creative Education has created. All right. Because what we are all about, I should stop saying they and I should say we, what we're all about is making it so young students, K through 12, are engaged in learning and that we're able to prove their results by showing and really closely monitoring reading levels, making sure they're reading on grade level. If need be, we will hold students back to make sure they're on reading grade level. We bring in teaching artists to engage students in learning in a creative way. And pretty much what we sell our donors on is the critical thinking. The students that come through our system are going to develop as critical thinkers. All right. And I have to make sure I mention that because I'm around it every day. Before you guys are a lot of these people who comment on the election or are so quick to call Trump a misogynist, or so quick to judge people, or so quick to moralize and say he's wrong for this and he's wrong. So many people who have a damn opinion are not around the young people that are affected by the way you act. They're not around them as frequently as I am, and they don't know the ripple effect that comes with being so divisive. They don't know the ripple effect by continuing to pull the race card, and how it continuously makes it so young kids who are using excuse after excuse, talking about stuff they have no clue what they're talking about. And it's because of the nonsense that you see on TV. It's because of the excuses that we hear from people who are so extreme left, so stubborn, so, morally so egotistical, so narcissistic that they can't say to themselves, hey, maybe I was wrong about Trump, or maybe I have to simply accept the fact that I got my butt whipped in an election and I don't need to be spewing to kids, to young people looking up to me about, oh, well, the whole country's racist because they elected Trump. That's how ridiculous it is. That is not how we guide children through. So that is not the example we need to be setting. That's just fucking ridiculous. And excuse my, I'm working on my language. I'm trying to keep the swearing to a minimum. But when I think about the way a lot of adults, people who are my peers, other teachers, other professions, when I think about the way that they have alienated and they have shamed young people, particularly young Black men, young people of color, they have shamed them when they simply ask the question, well, why is Trump so bad if so many people voted for him? When I'm starting to see this, when I'm starting to see, again, supposed responsible journalists talk as if there's something wrong with the entire country because we had enough common sense to say, hey, look, Kamala Harris just may not be the person for this particular job. Has nothing to do with her race, has nothing to do with her gender, has nothing to do at all with any physical attribute or anything like that. Just simply, look, the job that she was pursuing, she wasn't the best candidate. That's it, plain and simple. There was the race didn't play a role. The gender didn't play a role, in my opinion. It just was the right person who was the most qualified for this position. One, that's it. All right. And it's proven. So to set the tone, I know I started to get on a little rant there, but I do have a scheduled set of clips and things that I want to show you guys. And I'm going to react to them and teach you exactly what you should be doing, how you should be doing, how you should be handling it with kids. So to set the tone for the conversation, I want you guys to look at this news report because it's coming out. This was actually a fairly new ad to This was a new ad to the show. I come up with the idea to talk about this maybe a couple of days ago. And then this report came out about how much the Harris campaign actually gained, how much they spent, and how much they're actually in debt, and where your money, if you put your money in the Harris campaign, this is exactly what happened.
Week after their resounding loss, and much of the spending was on digital media advertising, polling, and travel from state to state. According to the reports, the Harris campaign spending six figures building a set for Harris's appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast with host Alex Cooper. A source familiar with the campaign confirming to News Nation the reporting that the Harris campaign was $20 million in the hole after November 5th. And even though the campaign took in at least $1 billion and reported $118 million in the bank as of October 16th, they're still seeing that $20 million in the hole. Another big ticket price, the $15 million the Harris campaign spent on event production, that also went towards the celebrity performances leading up to the election, like that election eve rally with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Ricky Martin. And Harris also reportedly paid $1 million to Harpo Productions, that's owned by Oprah. Oprah, we know, did a town hall with Harris back in September and appeared with Harris at her election eve rally in Philadelphia. And one GOP strategist putting it to us this way today, saying, quote, damned if you do, damned if you don't, giving the example of John Kerry having been criticized for still having $14 million unspent after his 2004 campaign. The strategist, though, called Harris's debt, quote, egregious, and that they were panic spending in the very end. Kelly.
So, Kelly,
$450,000 just to build a set for a podcast that maybe lasted an hour long. They are do you know how much $20 million in debt after you raised $1 billion? And I specifically remember, and this is what the most disappointing part of this entire process. It's the people who had a lot of energy, had a lot of shit to say, had a lot of stuff to say about me personally when Harris first made it to the top of the ticket, right? When Harris first made it to the top of the ticket, there was a lot of energy going around. There was a lot of positive talk about how, oh, she raised over $1 billion and, she's so smart. She's so great. She can do so many great things. And these same people, I don't hear from them. Where you at? Where exactly are you at? I mean, for you to, and this is the part that gets me so fired up, is because when you're talking about progress and when you're talking about, seeing a society that's moving in the right direction, and you're talking about being in a situation where you are part of change in a positive way, and when you sell yourself as a person that is quote unquote progressive, or is a person that has intellect, and you are all about the betterment of the culture and betterment for the people, when you reach a situation when the numbers are not lying, when the math is simply clear as day, all right, when it's reported, these reports don't just come out of nowhere. Granted, they may be off by a few dollars here and there, but at the end of the day, you're not going to just report something like this where there's math that's actual proven numbers that can be proven. All right, when this stuff happens, where's the accountability? Where exactly is the accountability? Where's the accountability when it comes to, hey, this person that we back, this person in Harris that we backed, again, very accomplished lady, has done a lot of great things for her career, can be looked at as someone that's a positive member to society. I would give her that. But at the end of the day, she was not the right candidate. And when are we going to start admitting that? That is the part that really is driving me crazy. And I'll tell you why this happened. So let me just kind of give you an idea of how this whole thing is set up. All right. There are people out there who are called race hustlers. All right. Race hustlers, race baiters, the whole woke cancel culture, all that nonsense that we were hearing just 2020, 4 years ago. There are people who are paid to keep this lie going. And most of these people that get paid, and they get paid very handsomely, they're really good at what they do. They're really good at what they do. They know exactly the right buttons to push. They know exactly the right triggers to hit. They know exactly what to say, how to say it. They have a lot of fancy degrees. They come with a lot of fancy language. And before you know it, if you're not careful and you don't go out and do your own research and, really ask yourself questions about how you're critically thinking and how you're able to stay on top of your game. These people are so damn good that they would have you thinking you're a victim. They would have you thinking that you don't live in the greatest country in the world. They have you thinking that you actually are being under attack, when the truth is you are so blessed to be living in this particular country. You're so blessed to be able to not be in a situation where you're enslaved. You're so blessed to be in a situation where even someone like Trump can't even have the goal of running for office, because we all saw what he was dealing with the court system and dealing with, just almost damn near got assassinated, all that kind of stuff. We're so lucky to be in a situation or in a world in which you get a Kamala Harris who made it all the way to the top of the ticket. And the race hustlers out there, the folks who get paid to continuously feed you this bullshit, they are so damn good at what they do that they will stoop, they will go beyond, and they will start grabbing it. They will go beyond just comprehension to try to prove their point, try to make themselves right. But when they get, and this is the important part now, when there's a loss, and I'll tell you this story, because when it comes to me, I always bring it back to the football world and what I learned as a player. A lot of the things that I've learned in business came from my experience as a football player. I'll tell you this story because this was back when I played for the White Oak Warriors. And the White Oak Warriors, it's a part of Silver Spring, Maryland, that sit right in the middle of the suburbs and kind of the inner city of DC. So it's kind of inner city of DC. We also got some, I'd say, rougher parts of, basically Prince George's County, which was right there in DC. So Silver Spring, Maryland, where I grew up, right affluent neighborhood. And then you had that DC PG mix. And we all came together to make what we called the White Oak Warriors, right? So we had a good mix of kids who were affluent, had a decent mix of kids that were kind of from inner city background or rough neighborhood, stuff like that. And we were able to come together in the football field. And none of that, even as players, none of that where you came from and all that nonsense, none of that actually mattered, right? So I remember there was a situation in which we would scrimmage teams. All right. For those of you who don't know what a scrimmage is basically a practice game, at the youth level. Actually, the NFL is actually starting to do this now with joint practices and stuff like that. But at the youth level and at the high school level, what you would do is you would organize it with a coach. Then you would go and just kind of practice, do basically a practice game with another team, right? So there were times in which we would scrimmage teams that were from really rough parts of Maryland, whether it's the rough parts of Baltimore, rough parts of PG, some rougher parts of DC, and we'd scrimmage them, and they'd come out with a whole lot of energy. They'd be, quote unquote, the real black ones, like the real black kids, the kids who are going through the real black experience, right? So they'd come out with a whole lot of energy. There's a lot of them, again, they're being raised in broken homes and they're really struggling. They're in the quote unquote hood. A lot of black people like to use the term from the hood and as a badge of honor and all that kind of stuff, right? So here's what happened, all right? And I remember it actually happened, but I remember a coach pointing it out. Now, I was a kid and I didn't really realize that this was the truth, but it wasn't until I got with some of my other coaches and I was listening to the way that they spoke about these situations that I realized, that's right, because it played out on the field the same way that the election played out the way it was supposed to play out, right? So we had a coach, though I can't even remember the coach's name. I think it was one of the players, one of my teammates' dads or something like that. And we were on our way actually to another game, another scrimmage. At that time we would be carpooling and, we'd work together as a community to get kids to games and all that kind of stuff. Right. So anyway, they were having this conversation about the White Oak Warriors, again, the quote unquote suburban spoiled black kids team versus the real black team, like the hood black teams, bunch of guys being raised off raised with single mothers, fathers not around, fathers jail or doing whatever it is, the ones that are really going through the black experience, right? So he broke it down just like this. He goes, the problem with those teams, the problem with those inner city teams, the teams that we like to, tout as the hood teams and all that is, they know how to come out with a lot of energy. They know how to come out and play with a lot of energy. But the minute that they get hit back, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. The minute that they get hit back, the minute that they run up against the White Oak Warriors, the minute that they run up against a team like us who was going to hit them back, they had no answer, no substance whatsoever. And that's what I'm seeing with this Harris campaign. That's what I'm seeing with a lot of the people that had a lot of energy when it comes to Harris. All right, the minute that you just got to hit back, all right, so you realize, hey, the country ain't really feeling this lady. You know, all this race baiting, all this BLM stuff, all this nonsense that you've been filling our heads up with for the past 4 years is not actually the case. When people like me, critical thinkers like me, other Black critical thinkers like myself, really actually go and do the research, they realize they throw at you some facts, they throw at you some questions, and all of a sudden it gets mute. I don't hear from nobody. We ain't talking. No one's talking anymore. Where's all the BLM stuff? Where's all the pride stuff? Where exactly is all of it? Now you just see a bunch of just empty stuff about how I guess only the educated had voted for her, or only this voted for her. I mean, just nonsense. And it frustrates me. It fires me up to the point because I see my peers doing this. It's one thing if I can just kind of escape it or remove myself from, but when I teach and I'm as involved as I am in mentoring young people, and I'm as involved as I currently am in dealing and seeing the growth and development of young people and developing their reading scores and seeing how they're growing and developing. I mean, 8 hours of my day is spent dealing with these children that are coming from these very difficult situations and trying to get them to see the light and trying to get them to see the power that they possess within their own mind, not run around calling themselves a victim and not being pushed in a direction where, okay, everything is all the bad things that happen to me in my life is because of my race. That is not the way you want young people thinking, regardless. I don't care. I will have that argument with anybody, anytime, any day. We do not want our young people moving around in this victim mentality when they live in the greatest country in the world, when they live in a world in which they just saw a woman of color make it all the way to the top of the ticket. But we're still going to push this victim mentality. We're still going to push. We're still going to advocate for people to not spend time with their family. We're still going to advocate. We're still going to make it so young people are feeling like somebody's against them. That is the wrong direction to be pointing our young people in. And I'm going to play you a clip of this because this one really got up under my skin. And if you're watching this right now and you knew me in high school, you would know exactly why. You would know exactly why this particular clip really got up under my skin, because I myself went to my name again, Aswan Crookshank, and I went to a high school that was predominantly Caucasian. All right, I was recruited to go there to play football. This high school has now become a nationally known football powerhouse. Very proud, very happy of my experience at this particular high school. However, at the time of me going there, it was outside of the football stuff, just being a regular student, it was a very, very rough ride. There were times I was the only Black kid in the class. There were times in which the teachers would poke fun at me. There were arguments. There were situations where I'd have to be the only individual fighting against a certain cause or, having a certain opinion on this, which is, again, a lot why I've developed and become the thought leader I am today. But this clip that came out, it's about a boy. He's a high school boy, and I'm not going to play you the full thing, but I'm just going to play you the part in which they're having a conversation, and the conversation gets to the teacher. Now, listen, look, if it's kids, if it's little high school kids having a little argument and they're arguing stuff out, hey, I'm all for it. I've been there, I've done that. I've had my share of debates and battles in high school. These are some little kids just going at it, and they're figuring shit out. But when you get grown-ass men, grown-ass teachers who are paid professionally, supposed to be impartial, supposed to be excited, supposed to be happy, all right? They're supposed to be happy at the fact that a young man has the courage, has the balls to actually go against an establishment and actually have his own opinion and develop. The fact that you as a teacher will respond like this disgusts me. So I'll let it play, and then we'll address it.
No, because she said that's not what you said. I'm like, what are you talking about?
She said anything.
Everybody entitled to their own opinion now.
Right. So why would you cut somebody off because they voted for Trump?
He didn't say, well, he can do what
You
he
can't
wants.
dominate the discussion.
I never said you could.
If you want to
cut somebody off?
if you want to have some input, so the dialogue, then you have to do so in a respectful manner and to be tolerant of each other's views.
I give you
Now, just because I think I expected that our country citizens were more decent.
Because they voted for Trump, they're not?
Yes.
What?
They're
he's
Jared.
a messed up person.
No, yeah, what?
No, wait.
Our citizens not decent because they voted
No,
for Trump?
wait. You have your views, and I have mine. I'm entitled to mine.
But that's why you cut them off,
So
because
if
you don't
I have
violate.
friends that tell me that, oh, MAGA, 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 I can't be friends with them.
Because he voted for Trump.
Because
Exactly.
What?
you don't get it. It's
Some
like you
people
don't
can't have
want to
their
surround
own
yourself by somebody
opinion.
who
Trump is
don't.
a good president. Some of y'all are blindsided by what y'all hear on the internet.
First of all, shout out to Brandon Tatum. He's actually a YouTuber that I found throughout this election process. I was looking, I listened to a lot of Charlie Kirk. I listened to Candace Owens a lot. Shout out to Dre Baldwin. But Brandon Tatum was someone that I just recently found throughout this election process. And I mean, he was on point with everything he says. Definitely recommend, if you have not yet, go and subscribe to his channel. He doesn't need any promo from me, but go and subscribe to his channel, because I remember in that video, if you go watch the full one, he's actually setting something up in which he's raising money for this particular kid. He's doing something that's going to be helping. He got in touch with the kid, and he's going to run a campaign to do something to help young kings like this, because what we just witnessed is some of the most egregious, some of the most disgusting, some of the most just terrible. The words. I don't even have the words I can't think of the words. Somewhere between disgusting, terrible, and just fucking ridiculous. Fuck it. All right. I'm trying not to curse try my best not to, use foul language, because I am developing as a Christian. I'm still very, very imperfect when it comes to the swearing. I've been going to church. I've been trying to stay away from the swearing as much as I can. But when you see fucking teachers like this stupid ass one, who has the fucking, the audacity of this dude to be a teacher, and to tell this young man who has an opinion clearly. Now, you guys didn't see I didn't play the beginning of it, but the whole thing actually started. The whole conversation actually started. It was recorded. You can go look this up. It's all over the internet right now. But it actually started with him arguing with other girls. He was actually going back and forth with other high school girls, and you can hear it. You could hear it in the recording that there were other high school girls who were upset about the fact that they were voting against a candidate that would allow abortion, and oh well, it's my right, my body, or my decision to do what I want with my body. You kind of heard him say, so you want the access to have an abortion and all that. And he goes, you're probably a virgin. He actually, because they're in high school, they're having this conversation. And that's actually what drew me to the video, because personal experience of mine, me as a person that has done a ton of workshops for a lot of different high schools, especially out here in South Florida, I can vividly remember, and this is a true story, guys, all right, can vividly remember going to high schools and watching little black girls walking around with sonograms as if teenage pregnancy was the thing to do. I have had friends, some of my best friends growing up, have gotten high school girls pregnant and have thrown them $200 and just said, all right, good, I'm good with that. Just fuck it, right? And this is the candidate. This is the person that we were advocating for. We were the people. We were supposed to go and vote for someone who was making it easy, making it accessible to go and get your child aborted, to go allow a teenage pregnancy to go be irresponsible sexually, to have it so men do whatever they want, get them pregnant, throw them $2, get the baby aborted, and you could act like it never happened. That's what she was running on. That's the kind of stuff that she was running on. And then, I mean, don't get me started on this idea of actual women, I mean, men playing in women's sports. That was the most ridiculous thing. But at the end of the day, when what we're talking about today, as you can see, it's guiding the students through the election results. And the results were what the results should have been. The results were exactly what I was praying. I almost felt a sense of relief as the landslide, as the results came in. It was a sense of relief on my end. But here's the point. Here's the point for the video when it comes to the when it comes to the what I just showed you, all right, with this young high school boy, all right, is when it gets to the point where the teacher has an opportunity to interject, all right, because this actually happened to me. I think it was the election was a Tuesday, so that Wednesday, right? So that Wednesday, like I said, I teach, and the majority of the students that we have at this particular school, they're actually young Black girls who actually one of them, there was an assignment. I remember there was an assignment last year in which there were like a lot of, it was like a Black History project, and I believe Kamala Harris is one of the options in terms of who the girls can be, when it comes to the historical figure of the person, the person that they wanted to emulate, that they wanted to be, and Kamala Harris actually came up on that list. So again, last Wednesday they come in, and obviously some of them are very disappointed. Now, me personally, I was never the type of person that was going to twist the knife. I was happy Trump won and all that, but at the end of the day, I had the mindset that there was really not going to be a winner regardless, because of how low these candidates stooped and how many shots that they took at each other. They didn't really run a campaign. Neither one of them ran a campaign in which it was really about them. It was all about a lot of mudslinging and a lot of smearing of the other person's name. However, again, I was happy that Trump won, but I didn't stick it up the ass of the people that wanted Harris to win. Obviously, again, I work with a lot of Black females, and I teach a lot of Black female students, which, again, I wanted to make sure they understood, hey, regardless of who did win or lost, you still have an opportunity to develop as a student, as a teacher, and all that kind of stuff, right? So anyway, I remember I was doing a reading intervention. And it was a young Black girl, 4th grade girl, young white boy, 4th grade boy, and a young Black boy who was a 4th grade boy, right? All of them. And the one Black boy I know personally has real deep issues because his father is not in his life, and he's still working through those emotions and stuff like that. The young white boy, again, he's kind of the minority in this particular school, so he has his issues. And then you get the young Black girl who is obviously not particularly excited, or is a little upset, still edgy about the election because it's Wednesday. So I had all three of them in a reading intervention group, and we're going over, I believe the passage was actually here's what happened. So the passage was kind of a trigger for her, because the passage was actually about a mayor. It was a mayor, and there was a story about a mayor who was having a town hall, and there was a little boy who was advocating. He was advocating for money to be allocated for the baseball funds, and then there was a business owner involved who ran a car wash. So we're reading this story again. It's me, the teacher, and then it's again, little Black girl, little white boy, and then another Black boy. We're all reading this the next day after the election. So as we're talking politics, it's kind of triggering this little Black girl, because it's still kind of soon, right? To her candidate, or the person that maybe that her parents wanted to win, the person that was supported by her culture, so to speak, just took a butt whipping. So she's still a little edgy, and then she shoots out. So I guess what happened was the name got mentioned, Kamala's name got mentioned, and she kind of shot at the little white boy, and she said, well, Trump is a racist, the racist person won, he's a winner. I'm like, whoa. And I stopped it. I stopped the conversation. All right. Right before this little white boy, who's kind of the minority in the school I teach, It's facing two black people. One's a black girl, one's a black boy, and he's about to get absolutely trampled on through no fault of his own. He don't got nothing to do with nothing about no politics. He had no control over the fact that he's just happens to be a white kid in a school that's predominantly black. Was about to get, just a hammer was about to come on him, because this is right after after the loss. And I, as a teacher, said, no, stop it. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And then I talked them through it. It's not like I danced around it, but I said, hey, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I kept it on the story. I kept the focus on the story. Now, luckily, we happened to be reading a passage that was about the decisions that all politicians make. And we started to realize, hey, it's not just about the president, but it's also about your local government. It's also about your local mayor, your local congressman, the people that are supporting you locally. And if you are passionate about it, if you did feel a type of way, if you did, really have some energy and have an issue with the election, the opportunity now becomes for you to get involved. Now you go do your research. Now you go pick up some books and figure out how to, adjust your ideas, adjust your way of living, adjust how you work, adjust how you, take classes, adjust how you actually go about and read, adjust exactly the way you spend your free time. You make the adjustments necessary so one day you can be in a situation where people are voting for you. That's how you're supposed to handle it as a teacher. You're not supposed to do it the way that this guy did it and basically tell the kid that there's something wrong with the country because they voted for Trump. That is not the way a teacher's supposed to be handling their business. A teacher's supposed to invite questions from young people, regardless of what side they're on, regardless of their opinion, and then thank them for their opinion, and then go from there to say, okay, I'm glad you have that opinion, but the question now is, how are you going to take action? What are you going to be doing in order to make it so your goals and your aspirations, the things you want to do, become a reality? That's how you do it. That's how you properly guide young people through what happened. All right. And this is important. All right. Now I'm talking to my business owners. I'm talking to my business owners that I speak to every single day, that I work with every single day. I have the #1 podcast on innovative teamwork for a reason, because I've had some absolutely incredible people on there. All right. So I'm going to play this next clip because this woman, I'm hoping there's some truth. I believe she said something. Again, I can't stomach more than 2 minutes of this woman talking, but I'm hoping that there's some truth in what she said something about leaving X because Elon Musk isn't going to be there anymore. Something to that effect. And I'm just hoping that there's some truth to her getting fired or her, moving on, because I just don't think that Joy Reid deserves to be on television. She does not deserve to have the honor to have a microphone, to have a platform that she does, because it's people like this, again, that are really, 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 really damn good at what they do, that are contributing to such a divisive mindset, that are the main fucking contributors to the divisive culture and divisive tone that leads to young students, the young black girl students that I teach every day, that leads to think like, hey, I'm a victim and it's okay for me to go and attack and hate all white people, or hate all people that are not black female, or hate all people. This is the kind of stuff that they say on national TV that eventually gets to our kids, because it's free access. It's material that they especially if they're coming from a broken home, this is material that they have 100% access to. And you, as a passionate educator, you as a passionate business owner that preaches accountability, you have no way of necessarily stopping this flood of information, this flood of victim mentality that people spew. The only thing you can do is take action to actively remove it. So I'm going to play it for you, and then we'll get into a discussion on strategies on what you can be doing to stop this divisive tone.
This actually may have been necessary, because if you go online, you will see a ton of lunatics who actually are talking about disowning family members who voted Trump. Listen here.
Someone voted that way. Do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them? We got the holidays coming up. So I love that you asked this question because, there is a push, I think just a societal norm that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood and I'm not going to be around you this holiday. I need to take some space for me. And I actually talked to, adults as well as advising parents for children. I mean, I think, I don't think that you should force children. I don't think you should force adults to be around people just because they're your family. I think there's a level of, need to establish boundaries. And if you feel like you need to establish boundaries with people, whether they're your family or not, I think you should very much be entitled to do so. And I think it may be essential for your mental health.
These people are sick. They're
I mean, Megyn Kelly, I think she nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. These people are sick. They're fucking sick. They are absolutely sick. They're sick. The word is right. They're absolutely sick. All right. And here's my point. And so just to kind of wrap up today's live stream today, like you can see today, we're talking about properly guiding students through the election results. All right. Here's what I mean when I said earlier, these race hustlers out there, these folks that are paid, they are paid handsomely by whoever is going to pay them, wherever the money comes in, whether it's coming from the Democratic, whether it's coming from the Democratic Party or whether it's coming from an actual sponsor, whether it's coming from donors, whoever it's coming from, wherever the money's coming from. If you're being paid to be the voice, as you just saw, Joy, she has her own show. That's the scary part, is that Joy Reid actually has her own show on a actual TV network. That's what's scary about this. That's what's even more disgusting about this. They are so damn good at what they do that you don't even realize how you're being deceived. All right. So couple points that she just made. It wasn't Joy Reid that made these points, but the guest, whoever that was she was interviewing, said some things that were very true, right? Said some things that were very true. She said there is a time in which you're going to have to distance yourself from family members, which again, that's very true. It's very true. It's very true. Everyone that has grown up knows that, hey, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to distance yourself from some of the things that your family members do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's actually necessary. That's something that everybody needs to hear. However, the context and the reason that she's using this language is completely fucked. You see my point? That they're so good at what they do because they use language that you're going to need, but then they turn around and they try to slip in this reasoning is wrong. The reason you should distance yourself from your family is not because of a presidential election that millions of people played part in, but you want to maybe distance yourself from your family because you're in your season of growth. You maybe need to be alone to go bond with a new family member. Maybe you met someone that's helping you develop personally and self-development and all that kind of stuff. Those should be the reasons. But the reason that you go and you distance, like you said, distance yourself from your family is not because of the way of an election went. That is not at all the reason that you should be distancing yourself from anyone. If anything, you should be doing the opposite. When you're talking about election results, you should be having a conversation with whoever is willing to have a conversation, whoever you're willing to have is willing to have a conversation with you so you can grow. Hey, maybe some of the things that were said about Donald Trump, all the negative, the fascism, the Hitler, you guys know all the talking points, all the nasty stuff that they smeared about. Maybe some of that stuff ain't true. Maybe some of that stuff is a little fabricated. Maybe just ask a Harris supporter, hey, if you said all these nasty things about him, how is it that he won in such a landslide? How is it that so many people, this wasn't a close victory. How is it that so many people thought he was the best option in this election? And then you see what at least the positive Harris supporter, the one that's willing to have the conversation, says, you know what, you're right. Let's explore that a little bit. Let's compare policies. Let's compare how they spent on their budget. Let's compare what this one did and what that one did. Let's talk about the negative. Let's talk about the positive. Let's talk about maybe the way America was seen. Let's talk about some of the major events in the world. Let's talk about this. And we're going to shake hands. We're going to have a conversation, and we're going to say to ourselves, okay, let's come up with our own ideologies. Let's come up with our own system. Let's come up with our own policies. That's the way it should work. That's the way the conversation should be. That's the way it should happen. You should have it like that. You should not have it to where you have these people who use very, very, very slick language, very smart folks who say to themselves, okay, I'm gonna use something that I know people are gonna need to do, but I'm gonna slide it in there that I'm gonna use the election and use this election to continue to create divisive language. I'm gonna use everything I can, regardless of how ridiculous at this point I sound, knowing at how bad and catastrophic the loss was. I'm going to continue to push this narrative because I can never be wrong. I'm so damn educated. I went to this college. I have this degree. I have this certification. I'm so damn smart. I can't be wrong about one fucking thing. That's the mentality that we're dealing with. So I encourage you guys as I close out, because I know I started ranting. I know I'm going to get, trust me, I'm going to get back into some football. We got some huge games this weekend. My Commanders took an L yesterday. However, the season is not over. Just know we're still a quarter of the way in. The season's not over yet. Oh, that's my mom calling me. I'll call you right back. All right, so the season's not over yet. Commanders took an L. There's a huge game that we're going to be talking about. I'm actually going to get a chance to watch a full Colorado in the big noon kickoff. My Michigan Wolverines have their second bye week, so get a chance to watch the Colorado. They have the big noon kickoff, and then the Georgia Tennessee game is something I really am intrigued about. Really do want to. I really do. I'm really excited of watching that game, seeing that, went to as a freshman, I went to a school named Carson Newman College, and we would party all the time out there in Knoxville. And I remember the Georgia-Tennessee rivalry, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about that. And we're going to get back into some football. But I had to give this episode, I had to speak on this because my day-to-day is being affected and being a positive role model, being a positive mentor, being a person for these kids, for these students, for these young people that is going to be positive, is going to figure out ways of finding the silver lining in everything that happens in this world. This is what I do. This is the promise that I make to business owners. It's the promise I make to whoever consumes my work for any length of period, any period of time. This is what I'm all about. I had to talk to you guys about how to properly do this because so many people out there are doing it the wrong way. All right. And I'll continue. You'll hear me speak on this over and over again because, again, there's a certain mindset. All right. It's a certain mindset that, and just to close you out, the way to avoid this, the way to keep yourself from falling down this victim mentality is you really start to ask yourself certain questions. Ask yourself, are you holding yourself accountable? Are you making sure you're not walking around with this mentality that you know everything? Are you walking around always willing to learn, always willing to work with people, regardless of what their opinion is, or if your opinion differs from them? Are you willing to have a conversation, ask questions? Make sure you have it in your own mind that you're willing to do these things. And the next thing that you have to do is remove everybody else that doesn't. All right. When you start running into folks that decide that they're too good for you, that they decide that I'm just know it all, even though the results are what the results are. This is why this is kind of one of the most positive things that have come out of this election, is that people are really actually showing me who they really are. Because as wrong as some of them were about both Trump and Harris, and as much as they got their butt whipped, there's people who are still so damn stubborn and ignorant and arrogant that they can't even admit, they still can't admit, hey, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I need to, go back and learn some things. They are so stuck in their own ways that they still, to this day, they still won't admit of being wrong about these things. All right. So when people show you that side of them, when they show you that they're that type of person, again, just pep it up, move on, cut your losses right there, spend as little time as possible around folks who have that mindset that they're so damn superior and they're so good for, they're too good for you, to where they can't even listen and have a conversation about what the results were, all right? So all that being said, again, business owners, if you've yet to do so, make sure you go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Get your free guide on how to use innovative teamwork to reduce the turnover in your business. Also, too, there'll be a Patreon link coming up. I'll have a membership ready for everyone to join. We'll have a ton of things that are going to be serving the business owners out there, the business community, the athletic community, the folks that really see a connection between the athletics world, the sports world, and want to use what those teamwork lessons and really pull those teamwork lessons out and apply them to your business. All right, so you see the website right there. Again, it's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon. Before you. We will talk more soon.